Hello everybody and welcome to Child of Light on the PS4. PlayStation 4, prefer.
Woo!
So what is this game? This game is actually, there we go, it's actually one of the games using the Ubisoft engine, the famous engine that powered the last two Rayman games.
And was actually one of the only good thing that came out in 2014 or 15, I forgot. Basically a particularly troubled year where Ubisoft was releasing basically blunders.
Yeah.
This, along with Valiant Hearts, The Great War, was basically the only redeemable things. And would you know, they're the only things done with the Ubisoft engine, which at the time of this recording, Ubisoft hasn't still tried to do more with it.
Yeah, even though they had their best E3 in years, they still showed up nothing of Ubisoft. Come on, guys, you have a fantastic engine.
I'm still confident it will happen
Can I
again.
talk about how beautiful this music is?
Yeah, from what I heard, this composer is actually her first work or something.
Alright, so what is Child of Light? Child of Light is actually a combination of a side-scrolling platformer with a JRPG, basically. It's actually the fans of
Metroidvania kinda like.
The developers of this game are actually huge fans of JRPGs, to the point where they actually got Yoshitaka Amano, the original character designer of the Final Fantasy series, to actually do a concept art cover for it, which I have it. I actually have a poster for it for my collector's edition. It looks gorgeous. So yeah, being an Ubisoft game, obviously this game has beautiful handmade animation and artwork, and it looks absolutely gorgeous.
So basically, one of its strong points is its presentation. On the other hand, Ubisoft really wants to go to Uplay
service. Stop shoving Uplay in my face.
Does anyone even really use Uplay?
No, nobody uses it.
Only to get like some of these bonus contents or something.
Alright,
there's so much compromise to it, but hey, we're not here to talk about one of Ubisoft's many downsides. Let's talk about one of their few good upsides, although who knows, maybe they'll be back on the uptake if they're...
It's a very interesting story about it.
Child, tuck yourself in bed and let me tell a story of Lemuria, a long-lost kingdom, and a girl born for glory. In Austria was a crown land ruled by a duke. Aurora was his daughter, child of a duchess mysterious, beloved by her father.
This is a different take of Sleeping Beauty.
He raised the girl alone. They were rarely apart, till the duke felt lonely and misplaced his heart.
Nice rhyming.
It was the great
that's the thing, Joe, but the entire game is written in rhyme.
Really, Pedro? Do we really have the time?
That night, Aurora went to sleep. The fire burned down low. She caught a chill that spread. Her skin was cold as snow.
And that was Shadow Light. Final thoughts?
Wow, that was a very dark version of Snow White's ending.
Her father wept and pleaded, but there could be no doubt.
A rose dislikes...
So yeah, it turns out the father married and got a stepmother for her, and turned out the stepmother was evil. Who would have... an evil stepmother in a fairy tale. Who would have known?
Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty, that's weird.
Only
and
this...
The thing is, it's supposed to be set in 1895 Austria, real world.
And usually it's the father that dies before the daughter. Huh, how ironic.
And
so yeah. We're gonna be playing as Aurora. What am I seeing? I must be dreaming. By the way, to your question, I'm guessing you played it with the Italian text.
Yes.
Do they also rhyme all the time?
Oh yes, and they take that as an excuse to have very cultured language, because when you do poetry in my country, you have like these very cultured language that feels a bit more pompous, kind of like the ye olde English thing.
Oh boy.
English-speaking people. No, but not in a bad way, Jova. It feels, it gives a solemn, or let's just say, it just helps.
Chapter 1,
presentation of
the
a
girl and the firefly.
Of course, we have our HP
Father.
and MP meter.
Wake me from this slumber.
So this is gonna be one of those metaphor pieces where this is her in her dark sleep.
Being an indie style game, obviously it's very artsy fartsy, but but it's done in a good way.
Oh god,
But don't worry, it's in no way pretentious.
Oh god, this is gonna be just like the journey where it turns out we're just.
And don't worry, Theo, I will be showing the confessions.
Sure. Well, you don't really need it. We just serve to strengthen the connection and tell more about the lore of this world.
Oh god, this is gonna be.
Personally, I don't find the lore to be interesting. I find the lore to be very boring.
That's one of the weak points of the game, but I'll get to it later on.
Oh god, this is gonna be just like the journey, and it turns out we're helping this girl finally die, isn't it?
Shiro, is that you don't always get.
What's darker than night? Shadows lost of light.
Go on, Theo.
Yeah, you don't get always cutscene in the form of dialogue with sprites. Sometimes the character just speaks like that doing while walking. It helps not breaking the immersion, the pacing and everything. It feels like a good touch, but there is a balance. Sometimes you still get the cutscene with the sprites, and they work for what we aim to do.
So, oh god, this is gonna be just like Journey, where it turns out that we're helping this girl die, isn't it?
well, technically, Jova, she already died.
She died.
Are you sure that we're not just helping her to the afterlife?
That seems to be the premise of a lot of indie games, though. Let's be fair.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, technically, this is not an indie. It's made with an indie spirit, but technically, it's financed by Ubisoft.
Yeah,
so
still
it's
Ubisoft.
Not
It's still considered
yeah,
Ubisoft.
it's pretty. It's as much an indie game as say.
Unravel is for EA.
Yes. Or
the dream is formed of high air. Dark spirits fly, I know not where.
Don't you mean a dream is a wish your heart makes?
That doesn't rhyme, Jova, so we can't do that reference.
Yeah.
Oh look, a cherry tree, a cherry blossom tree. Wait, I thought this was Lemuria, not Japan.
Or San Francisco.
Or
cherry blossom trees here.
Wow, we already fell into desperation. My heart shall break.
She's a little girl, what do you expect?
Alright, Jova, you can be Nicholas.
Will someone please explain how water falls with no rain?
Shiro, if you please.
Who spoke?
Your pearl voice.
I did. Oh. Shake the dew from your eyes.
You could be helped, Shiro, because
before
the text
more
is
grows,
actually
that's common sense.
Just read the red text, basically.
A firefighter speaks advice? My supper must have been too dense.
Food sounds good, but I am lost. By the way, I think that was your last supper. Ever heard of an Aurora?
Why, sir, she is me.
Ah.
Both sir and she, a split aura. Perhaps you are some kind of flora.
Ha.
Okay.
Cease your foolishness at once.
Aurora doesn't like the rhyming.
I am Aurora. I am she.
I see you can see her, but can you see me? Oh, why didn't you say so? Follow me.
Right?
Yeah, another thing, obviously, in order to have the things to rhyme, stuff needed to be changed a bit, but from what I see, the alteration seems to be minimal and the dialogue still works the way it's supposed to be.
A lady waits her long as voice stream, with skin like moths and gleaming eyes.
Sia? She'll know the way out of the dream.
Does she know that out of a dream she dies?
She still thinks she's dreaming. Anyway.
Oh.
Okay. Alright, so here's how, not only do we control Aurora with, your traditional controls, we also control Igniculus. And he works pretty much like a mouse cursor. If you're playing the PC version, you can control him with the mouse cursor.
Hello, Giant.
Yeah, if you're playing with the... Oh, what is tied to these branches? Curious charms, little hands, text, and... whatever the hell that was.
Fly.
Don't you know? Those are wishes.
Wish of slides left in... God damn it, the fucking text moves on too fast.
All the orange want to find more bright.
Yeah, this is a tutorial on this thing. Basically, if you get all those in a row, you can get HP and MP orbs to restore, well, what I just said.
Outside of battles, yeah. You can also catch, can also catch them with Igniculus, so you can move and
Igniculus is incredibly useful. Like I was about to say, in the PC version you can control with your mouse, which is very useful. In the PS4 version you can use the touchpad to move Igniculus around, and it's very useful. It's very intuitive. It really works.
Although you can still use the right analog stick if
you can still use the right analog stick, and that's how it is in the PS3 version.
Pass right over this tree.
But I cannot fly there with thee.
So now what to do?
Now? Trapped. The door is bad.
Aw.
A scepter around. A translucent sphere.
What?
Clear as glass. The answer.
He's near.
God damn it,
Automata.
Tara, this is no time for your stinking haikus.
Sir
Oh, that's one.
Firefly.
Ignite your rear.
Wow, I barely know you. Going a bit too far on this.
Do it and I'll show you.
Go
I
ahead,
feel
Firefly,
like I
ignite
need
your
an
ass.
adult.
Well, when again, this time around, Ubisoft was still developing, or had released relatively before South Park: The Stick of Truth. So.
Alright, so this is actually the game's way of teaching you that you're gonna have to do some light puzzles with Nicholas. Basically, if you use Nicholas's light, you can create these things. There you go, and you're supposed
Cast
to match
shadows, very good.
match the symbols with the ones on the tree. Go.
Basically, it's all about perspective. There we go.
Sir Firefly, our path is clear.
But who would put a door here?
I know, right?
Please don't.
Oh, sorry, Shiro. These rhymes are here to stay.
Now, please be calm, come what may.
Who is she under? Remove the sword under. Who
That-
spoke?
Even the tutorials are rhyming.
Some sort of ghost?
The lady of the forest, I'm sure of this.
I don't know. Take the sword of my business or my
Mafildis.
whatever. That thing.
It's the name of a saint.
Rhyme.
I had the power! Or something.
Unfortunately, Aurora is still a child, so obviously it's kind of hard for her
been
to.
hard for her.
That thing looks mean.
Fortunately, I wield a sword in this stream. All right.
Yeah, even though she's a bit heavy, she can swing that BFFs like mad. Just watch.
Anyway, yeah. So when it comes to the battle system, Child of Light takes inspiration from the Grandia series.
Wow, dude.
Which is considered a mythology gag because at least the first two Grandia games, at least were back in the day, were published actually by Ubisoft itself.
Yeah. Alright, I'll explain more about the battle system later when we have a longer battle.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm on New Game Plus, I was able to fight that thing. Don't worry, Teo, I don't know if you do the New Game Plus on this, but the New Game Plus works in the sense that when you do a New Game Plus, the monsters are accurately buffed up to make sure the New Game Plus doesn't go blind.
Yeah, it's traditional New Game Plus.
And not always too. I mean, a lot of games just keep the same stats and basically make the New Game Plus basically a cakewalk. I mean, Chrono Trigger. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Chrono Trigger doesn't buff up the stats of the monsters in
For
New
God,
Game
it's
Plus.
been a long
I
time.
think that you have the option to in the DS version.
It kind of depends also on depends on the version. Also, something in the background. Jesus Christ.
Creepy.
Alright, so yeah, we're supposed to meet the Lady of the Forest so she can help us get out of this dream again.
Another thing that I think the game will tell you later is that you can also use Igniculus to your advantage against the enemies. In a sense that both outside and inside combat you can use Igniculus lights, part lights or whatever it's called, to stun the enemy. Outside of the field it can allow you to use a sneak attack on him and have the upper advantage. On combat itself, it stuns him, slowing down his turn time, as Pedro will say later on how exactly the battle system works.
Well, wait, this is actually a good point because now there's two enemies. Okay, basically, you see that timeline at the bottom? Basically, what it is whenever I basically the characters are always, both me and the enemies are always moving through the timeline. When we get to the cast zone, aka the red part, that's when I get to choose my action. And the action will and after picking an action, the character will keep moving towards the end of the timeline. And yeah, right now I'm using Igniculus because Igniculus can slow down the character in the timeline. There we go. See, I was able to attack before the enemy got to the end of the timeline.
Now, Aurora killed this enemy here, but normal circumstances is if you manage to attack an enemy that is trying to execute an action, aka as his icon in the casting bar, the red bar, and you manage to attack him and inflict damage, the attack of the enemy will be delayed in a sense that the icon will go back a bit in the bar. Basically, if you prepare your position and who to choose to attack, you can manage to slow down the enemy even more and may potentially not even allow him to attack at all.
Huh.
So
it all comes in timing.
So combat in this game is all about the timeline. Pay close attention to where the enemies are in the timeline position to you and plan accordingly. Because
also, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Joe.
Maybe some action also, as it says in the menu, requires a different type of time for casting. The simple attacks, it's called.
Let me explain this. Alright, as you can see, one of the enemies is about to attack me, and there's nothing really I can do without. However, the defend command is
instant.
As a cast time instant, which means it will automatically happen without any time consumed, meaning I can immediately cast it before the enemy has a chance to attack. So there you go. Now I can defend myself, and his attack will do so. So when you get into a situation where there's no way you can prevent the enemy from attacking you, it's always a good idea to consider defending. Because remember, just like with the enemy, when you're in the cast zone of the timeline, if you get attacked, you will also get sent back in the timeline.
Yeah,
You'll be
as I
interrupted.
said, the enemy can turn these also against you, so you have to be careful as well.
So combat in this game is basically a timing and waiting game between you and the enemy.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Box. Yeah, you can also use Ignicus to also open boxes, treasure boxes, chests, whatever you call it. So that allows him to reach stuff that Aurora also may not reach properly.
Since Igniculus is a firefly, he can also light up the place if it's too dark.
Yeah.
Alright.
There we go. Those fighters are not a big deal for now, so...
That's nice.
Okay.
Yeah, as I mentioned, the surprise...
As you can see in attacks, there are attacks that, aside from the defense being instant, there's also attacks that either take a cast time of normal, a cast time of long, or a cast time of very long. Normally, the most powerful attacks you have a very long cast time. That's the cost for their power. Fortunately, I'm quite strong, so I was able.
Pretty effective.
So basically, I'm guessing that basically the longer it is of the cast time, that means the less you can do while your figure is in the cast.
Not just that, the more upper chance the enemy may have against you.
Chapter 2, the Queen of Light.
Also, you may have noticed that in the arena, you always get some of those clover leaf, one of these like arbustes that give you extra HP and MP. Basically, they're in case of emergency.
For example, Joe, rocks planted in the ground will not grow.
I think that
Let's see what this crowd has to say.
Anyway, to give you an idea, Jova, the second party member we're gonna get, she has an attack that actually has a short casting time. And it becomes really useful when the enemy is almost at the end of the timeline. If you think you can still manage to cast in a short cast time attack, you can. It's always a good idea to prioritize that, so you can at least try to interrupt the enemy. So like I said, it gets even more deeper when you have two party members, because you can have a maximum of 2 party members per battle. And it becomes all a game of planning accordingly, according to how much your cast time. Obviously, the usual stuff also applies. Be sure to level up, get XP, so you can get good equipment, all that good stuff. However, the key to winning fights in this game is the timeline. Pay close attention to the timeline, because good use of it will guarantee a victory for you, even if you're not necessarily grinding.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. They were all ahead of me at the beginning, so they were.
Also, unlike
I have plenty of time, so I can just pick whatever I want.
Also, unlike in other traditional JRPGs, you don't have a proper, let's just say, weapon, armor, equipment. However, you can equip these things that are called Oculus. No, it's not the Oculus Rift, which are basically gemstones.
Technically, they're pronounced oculi with an I.
Oh, I didn't know that they were.
Oh, I'm guessed Italian text.
No, they were actually the same. I thought they were changed in the.
No, they're oculi in the English version as well.
Basically, the essential they are gemstones. So basically, what you need to do with them is place them either in the weapon slot, the armor slot, or the accessory slot. And depending where you place them, they give a different effect. The armor and the weapon means either that you have elemental attack or elemental defense. But if you place it in the accessory slot, you get something different depending on the stone that you get. Obviously, bigger stones mean better quality of the effect, and you can also create new by combining one of them in.
For example, if you put a fire gem or fire oculi, that's the technical term. If you put a fire, let's go gems just for the sake of convenience. If you put a fire gem on your attack slot, that means you'll have fire elemental attacks. If you put it on the defense slot, that means you're resistant towards fire attacks. If you put it on the third one, that means it creates a different type of effect, like more MP or more attack, something like that.
Yeah.
So basically, whenever you get gems, just keep experimenting with them to see which ones do what, and try to find a good combination of equipment that really suits your playstyle.
Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds very fair and balanced. Here's where the light element comes to play. You get it a bit later on, not just now. Hold on.
Hold on. Door is blocked.
How do we get it unlocked?
There you go, that's the lever.
Alright, that's the game telling us what it is.
Yeah,
right,
you get it a bit later on, not necessarily now, because we're still in the beginning of the game. But essentially it can be very game-breaking for just a simple reason. No enemy, only a few enemies obviously are weak to the light elemental attack. Some of them are just weak to something else. But no enemy is actually resistant to the light element. So if you play right your cards, you can be extremely devastating with no repercussions whatsoever.
But of course.
G-Tail, how did you guess that I have a big light gem on Aurora?
Because you opened the menu before.
Also, it kind of does say that the enemies are vulnerable to light.
But we'll get a character later on that particularly suits these particular playstyle. You can you can make mincemeat of the final boss really easily, even at lower levels.
Alright.
I wonder if New Game Plus amps up something there.
No, the only thing New Game Plus does is, keep your stats, your items, and all that stuff, everything that you got, and buffs up the monsters.
Enemies, yeah. And now we're in a Castlevania game apparently because it's a clock tower.
Do we travel up high?
I wish that you could fly.
Aurora, illuminate the oculi.
Oculi.
Let me
Whatever.
try.
Whatever. I didn't go to French school, okay?
But it's so obvious. It
Latin.
must be pronounced that way because it's the way that rhymes.
I'm guessing, Tail, the reason it retained the
The Latin, pompous nature, I guess.
My guess, it's a French game, so I'm guessing that's probably has to do something with it. They're keeping the thing for the English translation.
Well, again, it's not necessarily a French term. It comes from Latin.
Well, what I mean is like, here in Europe, English translators aren't quite as, don't change things in English-ized things as much as American translators.
Not necessarily. I don't remember this strictly being used as a word in English. And here's the thing, Pedro. It's called like that because it's obviously I made a joke before, but it's a name that's similar obviously to the Oculus Rift, which is a device used for virtual reality, and you put that on your eyes. This is because in ancient times gemstones were actually used sometimes as what's the name?
Glasses?
Lenses that were used to, see things in a different perspective and stuff like that. So that's where it comes from.
Alright.
And the correct term for single is oculus, it's Latin, and the plural is oculi.
Puzzle platforming.
The more you know.
That's the kind of puzzle I'm okay with, so...
Well, that's because it's the beginning of a game, Shiro. It's going relatively easy. Later, it also becomes a bit more challenging, should we say. Alright, let's get it over with.
Teo, you need to use maps to level up all the characters to level 5.
Because as we know, level 5 is the best level where it is.
Basically, Shiro, there's a puzzle in Lady Layton that's literally a JRPG kind of puzzle where Basically, you have to do some maths to make sure you can get all your free party members to level 5, as in, at JRPG levels. And after you do that, of course, the game even, like, when the puzzle ends, the concluding message is, good job, now all the characters are at level 5, the best level to beat. Alright.
There we go.
Not to mention, like Theo said, the light element is pretty much the best to use, especially because the final boss is dark elemental. So yeah, you can.
Yeah, if you play your cards really well, you can beat it with no effort. Not to say that it's a bad thing. I mean, like when it comes to JRPGs, there is a part of me that always love have a soft spot for power playing, but not in the main run. I just say that I dedicate part of me to exploit the game advantages.
Alright, story now. Well, actually, no, technically we still have to.
Well, technically, yeah, to do
puzzle.
another small puzzle because we're in another room where the voice came from. But where it comes from, there's a stained glass there.
Here at last.
Beware! A spell has been cast!
I'm imprisoned behind the glass.
And notice the music is extremely dreary.
Alright, so this is a color matching puzzle. So let's use Igniculus to put
you
all
have
the
to match
colors.
the torches
There we go.
to shatter the stained glass.
I really hope that we're not releasing an evil demonic being.
Well, Jova, take a guess what is present in this room aside from us.
The woman in the
The
painting.
stained glass, obviously, but what else?
Oh yeah, that broken up statue, those broken up horses. A headless
There we
horseman?
go.
Nah, they wouldn't.
Alright. Who dares challenge the Queen of the Night?
A tiny nothing with locks of red. Well, what do you
Here's our
know?
first boss. And the boss themes in this game are fucking amazing.
This is but a dream. It must be.
Seems real to me, it wants us dead!
Alright, this is the first boss and it's already your first reality check if you're not careful enough. Because the Trumpeteer Angel loves to cast Ace on everyone, so if you're not paying attention, these guys are gonna get fast really soon.
Fortunately, they're not. They're not that hard. They don't have that much HP. So it's if you as long as you keep attacking them, you should be fine.
Those visual cues.
You
Is
can
that
also
to show
heal,
that they're
obviously,
staggering?
Basically, the gist of it, if you don't have a grind enough, take down the statue with trumpet first.
And they're vulnerable to lights, so.
There we go.
Magic Stardust.
It's one of the items that basically boost up your stats, like the source in Final Fantasy VII.
Aw, so I can't trade it for like 1,000 polka dollars.
There we go. We freed whoever was prisoned in the stained glass.
Alright, Shiro, get ready.
Jova?
Lady, this is Aurora!
Madame, sure, it's now that I'm in the stream. I am ready to wake up now. Child, a vision. Take my hand.
Here we go.
Take my hand.
We're
Take
up
my
to never
whole
ever,
life too.
Alright, now
Once the sun shone upon a land of sequined valleys and peaks of white, and at night ruined castles glowed with alabaster light. From the stars in the crescent moon, a queen of light ruled this rambling place.
Palatina?
Each night she walked the palace alone, her luminosity dawn's own face. Until one night there was no trace. The queen had vanished, and with her the light. Dark resided in its place. The usurper, Umbra, hid from sight.
So we
She
need
sent
a
her
child
daughters
of
in her
light.
stead. The sun
Obviously.
and the stars
oh,
and
hold
the
on.
crescent
We're the game is actually about to get to that, Joe.
crushed them with the monsoon. Then Umbra's dark creatures conquered the land. Our lives soon snuffed out by a wave of her hand.
So the bad guy is Umbra.
So basically, her mother disappeared and the stepmother took over.
Basically, which
Go
is
ahead,
called
Sarah.
Umbra. It means
Madame,
shadow.
thank you for the story. But now I wish to wake.
What an ungrateful.
So down my speech, you fell asleep?
These dreams are a bit too trippy for me.
When I speak of is real, not fake. So there. All around us lies the land of Lemuria.
Sounds a little
Trademark.
loony.
I know, Jova. We
I'm
are not
afraid
lemurs
this is not a
here,
dream, Aurora.
despite the name.
The only way is a magic link.
Oh, so we need Link from What's New
A
Zelda.
mirror behind the throne. Stolen by Umbra, Queen of the Night.
Would that happen to be our evil stepmother?
Yes. So path home is to banish the night.
I mean, it shouldn't.
Bring back the stars, the sun,
Yeah,
the
very good.
moon.
That's
the
our
light.
goal, basically. But
Get
basically,
the stars,
Jova,
the sun, and the moon.
the game tries very.
Oh, hold on,
briefly- Oh god.
No, unacceptable. My father waits.
About that.
If Wi-Fi said you'd help me post haste.
I have a name, you know.
Do not despair, my dear. Now shut up.
It says Firefly in the text.
Now shut up. I created a ridiculous to aid you. I'm the old lady about to send you in a quest, so pay attention.
A bug the size of a pin? No good, I fear.
That hurts my feelings, you know.
Never shall I recover.
Oh, so she knows she's dying?
The sun, the stars, and the moon.
God damn it, this is the chosen one I had to deal with. Do not despair, my dear.
Next time, lady, try to choose the 4 crystals of the elements. They're more easy.
For the sun and moon, seek the highest and the lowest room. Get it? Because moon, sun, First, go back from whence you came. Which kind of makes your walk here kind of pointless, but yeah, go.
Well, let's just say
That was
that.
a short walk, I
Past
guess.
the altar in which you wake this day.
Let's just say that the game will give you a tool to help you out.
Yeah. Through a tree of thorns, sharp and thick, and now they're not maleficent before you act. Seek help along the way. Maybe I should try learning how to read.
And what of the stars?
They're inside the paintings of Princess Peach's castle.
How will I reach the skies?
Oh, you mean the pages from Yooka-Laylee?
My child, the answer lies above.
In the stars.
Open your eyes.
And it'll be alright.
There it is.
So there you go. She's basically gonna turn us into a fairy of sorts, meaning we gain wings so we can actually fly freely throughout the game's environment. With no limitations whatsoever, we can just fly, and that's it.
And
What
Aurora
an
also
incredible
gains,
surprise.
she gains also kind of like a boost move in any direction you tilt the analog stick.
Am I a fairy? I am in flight.
And she already
Aurora,
mastered it.
you are a child of light.
Zing!
Roll
Ready.
heads. Now listen carefully. Keep that charmed crown.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah, that's important for
Yeah,
later.
I noticed that whenever she gets hit, it seems to fall off.
Very,
But you could
very
keep
good,
it up.
Jova. Upon your brow, never remove it, clear? Oh, and one last thing before I go. If you should ever despair, my dear,
Thank you. Exactly what does it do?
It gives you a
Basically, she's giving
continue.
her a flute.
sorry, child, I cannot hear you.
How convenient.
Stay true to the 8 disciplines which are only just beginning to know. Goodbye.
Wait, but I
You rhymed again.
must know my father? Is he alright?
I hate to say it, but he's a bit of a sad sight.
I am surrounded by endless night. Well, that kind of comes with, you know.
So we got the ordinary flute. What does this flute do? We'll learn later.
Maybe she'll live, Shiroi. Maybe she'll
Alright,
live.
and now we have narration.
And so Aurora wandered, the twilight forest far from home. Starlight only to guide her, except for a firefly alone.
By the way, you're welcome for releasing you from that stained glass painting.
Searching for the sun and moon, a father to embrace her. And somewhere in the night, perched upon a throne in the dark, waited Umbra, the usurper, to snuff out Aurora's spark.
Jeez. So what? She literally just got married just so she could snuff out this girl who just happens to be the
Well,
child
Jova,
of-
she's a stepmother in a firefly. What did you expect? Sorry.
I get it. Oh, I get it.
In a fairy tale.
Oh, I get it. Oh, I get it. Oh, I get it. Stepmother in a firefight. That means you can step on her, just like Vasily stepped on poor Ray and the Princess and the Frog.
Yeah. I can't speak for shit today, apparently. Anyway, yeah, she's a stepmother in a fairy tale. So what did you expect? Oh my, this is what I'd like to fly. Onward, up high. Chapter 3, Into the West.
Wild, Wild West?
No.
Thank you.
Well, should I say our route is clear?
If we fly to the left.
Tree of Thorns will surely appear. Sir Firefly, to the sky!
You cannot believe your eyes.
Alright, everybody, in the next part, we do indeed move west, and we find our second party member. See you then.
Nice.
See ya.